If you've spent hundreds of hours learning how to code, watching tutorials, buying courses, maybe even starting several projects, but still haven't launched anything or shipped anything, then this video is for you. Because for years, I thought the reason why I wasn't launching anything was simple. I just wasn't good enough. I thought my skills were not advanced enough to create something valuable or interesting. And in a way, that fear was true. So like many people, I did what felt responsible. I bought courses, I watched dozens of multi-hour YouTube tutorials, I finished some of them, I abandoned others. And slowly, I was trying to convince myself that I was making progress. But if I'm being honest, hundreds, maybe even thousands of hours later, I still had nothing to show for it. No real users, no launch projects, no project I could point to and say, wow, I'm proud of this is mine. And maybe the worst part of all of this is this weird feeling of imposter syndrome. Like I had to earn the title of developer, that I needed just one more course, one more tutorial, one more framework, one more AI workflow. And if you've ever felt like this, or maybe you're feeling like this right now, I want to explain what changed things for me, and more importantly, how to actually go from learning to shipping. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. Learning feels good. It feels productive, safe, controlled, especially self-education. You learn at your own pace, you pick the subjects and topics that interest you, there is no one grading your work, more importantly, there is no one criticizing your code or looking at how ugly it is. And because of that, learning becomes addictive. You spend a few weeks exploring a new idea, then all of a sudden, a YouTube creator comes along and confidently says, no, this is the wrong stack, you should be using this. And so you switch, and then a few weeks go by and the thing repeats, and you switch again and again and again. Eventually, your laptop becomes a graveyard of half-finished projects. Some React app here, a Swift project there, and this cycle keeps repeating until you quietly quit or stop trying. And this is tutorial hell. And before AI, this was a problem. But now, it's weirdly worse, because coding agents can build anything you want. Simply describe an app and you will get working code right away. And somehow people are still stuck, maybe even more stuck. So what's actually happening? I think it comes down to one thing, and it's that learning feels safe, while shipping feels vulnerable. Because launching means reality. Reality means bugs, users, rejection, the idea that nobody cares, or maybe what's worse, that a lot of people care and now you have to actually maintain something. So what finally changed things for me? The biggest shift happened for me when I stopped thinking like a student and started thinking like a person who had to launch a product. Because launching forces you to think about things that tutorials rarely mention or completely skip. And this is where I think aspiring developers accidentally sabotage themselves. They learn how to build apps, but not how to launch a product. And those two skills are very different. For example, let's say you want to launch a website. Most tutorials will stop at, congrats, here's your website, you can view it locally, there you go. Great, but now nobody can access it, nobody trusts it, and no one actually knows it exists. Suddenly you start asking yourself questions. Should I buy a domain? Where do I host this? How do I make this feel legitimate? Weirdly, buying a domain feels small, but psychologically, it changes everything. Because now you have skin in the game. Now you have an actual website with your name on it. For me, that was a huge mindset shift. Because suddenly, I wasn't just learning about web dev, I was building things that had to exist in the real world. Then there is analytics. Nobody tells beginners this, but once real people start using your app, you realize you really don't know anything. You think users will behave one way, but actually they act in a completely different manner. People ignore buttons and banners, leave after 5 seconds, and get stuck in places you never expect. And suddenly analytics becomes very interesting, because now you're solving a real problem. Questions like, where are people dropping off? Which feature matters? Why isn't anybody clicking this? Depending on the project, it could be anything. It could be Google Analytics, PostHog, Mixpanel. The tool really doesn't matter. What matters is the mindset shift. You stop building for yourself and start building based on reality. Then comes payment integration, and this is where projects start feeling terrifying. Because now you have to think about subscriptions, refunds, taxes, failed payments, and so much more. You never have to think about these problems until the moment you actually have to launch something. And that's exactly why launching teaches faster than learning. The stakes are real, the questions are real, and the progress becomes real as well. And that's when you actually start feeling like a developer. Not when you finished another course or memorized a new framework, but when real people start using something you've built, even if it's messy, ugly, and there's barely anyone using it. At least now you're actually in the game. So if there is anything you take away from this video, it should be these 3 guiding principles. Because honestly, I wish these are the things someone told me many years ago. The first is build embarrassingly small. Your first app should make you uncomfortable. Not because it's bad, but because it's so simple. I think a lot of developers get stuck because they try to build their dream product immediately. Build something small and you'll be surprised at how effective this learning will be. The second principle is launch before you're ready. You're never going to be ready. Seriously. You're going to have some thoughts in your head like, oh, this UI needs a little polish, or maybe I should add this one new feature. And maybe some of it is true, but at some point, perfection becomes procrastination. And honestly, once you launch, you may find out that half of these features that you were worrying about don't even matter to your users. The third principle is treat your app as tuition. Your first app or apps probably won't make any money. In fact, they might actually cost you some. And that's okay. You should treat this experience the same way you would as school tuition. You're paying with your time and potentially money to level up your skills exponentially. You'll be forced to learn how hosting works, how analytics works, how users behave, how annoying authentication is, and even just something as basic as trying to explain your product. So if no one is using your product, you still win. Using these 3 principles, you can change your mindset from a learner to a builder. Because at the end of the day, builders build and they launch things. And they slowly get better by embarrassing themselves over and over and over again. And honestly, that's probably the fastest way to become the kind of developer you want.